I started hosting full-time after the layoff. My newest listing was a bright garden studio tucked behind an ivy-covered house I rarely visited. Self-check-in was easy turnover, and solid reviews made everything feel like clockwork, so it was all smooth until the last guest. She was a solo traveler, and her message was polite and brief, so she said arriving by sunset, and thanks again. She stayed 2 nights and never asked a question, and never left a review. At first, I thought nothing of it because guests vanished digitally all the time. But a week later, I got a strange automated email. So it said your property was rated 5 stars. Only I could not find the review because it did not exist. The guest profile was deleted and every trace was gone. I sent a cleaner and she texted 1 word, so she said, nope. Naturally, I went myself and stepped in through the keypad door. The air felt thick like walking into someone else's breath. The place was immaculate, though it felt too immaculate. Then I noticed the mirror and it was foggy and smeared with handwriting, so I wiped it. It said still here. Every cabinet had been rearranged so it was alphabetical and color-coded in an obsessively neat way. In the freezer, there was an untouched pie. On the windowsill, I found a photo of me, so I was smiling, though I had never taken it. I checked my security cam archive and every file from those 2 nights was corrupted. That night back home, I received a new booking request. There was no name and no photo and just a message. So it said it's my turn to host. I have not listed that studio. A business trip for 5 nights made me book a compact Airbnb with cozy lighting and a message from the host. He said the unit next door is sensitive to sound, so please keep things quiet after 9. That was fine because I travel light and sleep early anyway. The first night was ordinary, so I showered and sent emails and went to sleep. The second was different though. I heard knocking and it was not loud, but odd. It was a metronome of taps through the wall, so I assumed the neighbor was just being strange. By night 3, the knocking turned into pacing and shuffling footsteps behind the drywall. Then came the humming, so it was tuneless and aimless and barely audible while it scraped against my nerves. So I asked the host if the neighbor was okay. There was silence. Night 4 brought a note under my pillow, and not at the door, but under my pillow. It said he does not like new people, so be quiet. There was no signature, and I did not know who he was. I stormed into the hallway and knocked on the next unit. There was silence. The door was locked and dusty, while dead plants sat beside it. I peeked through the side window and there was no furniture and no lights, and just walls, so dozens of scratch marks lined the baseboards like something had been clawing to get out. The host called the next morning and said I forgot to update the listing, so no one's lived next door for years, and can we offer you a discount? I left immediately, so I did not take a discount or argue. I still hear that humming when I lie awake some night. I wanted silence, so a place without pings or news alerts or mindless noise sounded perfect. I found a listing on Airbnb, so it was a minimalist bungalow tucked in a valley somewhere unnamed. The description promised complete disconnect, and that was the point. The host's instructions were simple because he said the keys in the birdhouse and enjoy the stillness. I arrived late and the place was pristine, in a way that did not feel new, but more like frozen. It was like time had folded in and just stayed put. There were handmade quilts and dated kitchenware and a radio, though there was no reception. No outlets fit my charger. There was no signal and no clock and no sense of movement outside, while even the trees felt hesitant. I opened a drawer and found a stack of Polaroids. Each photo showed different guests posing on the porch while they held the same wooden sign that said, "One night is enough." The handwriting changed and the expression did not. Later, I opened the fridge and one item sat inside. It was a plastic wrap sandwich with no date and no label, though there was a sticky note that said "Eat before dark." I did not. That night I heard footsteps circling the bungalow, and they were measured and deliberate. Then a voice came, so it was soft and just outside the window. It said leave it for the next. I packed in the dark and ran to my car. The road out was gone, so it was not blocked, but simply not there. I walked for hours before reaching a gas station. My phone blinked to life, but the booking confirmation had disappeared from my email, and the property link was dead. My message history with the host was blank. And the scariest part was I still had the sandwich in my bag, and it was fresh